So the last member of B Kamaji has joined. We've got Mem, and we've learned quite a lot about her, right? The fact that she's lied about her age, she's a lot older, which honestly very relatable. Like, albeit with someone like Miyako who goes and says like, oh, I've seen a lot of youngins around, so I know how young a person should look, right? I just know that you're older than you look from your bone structures, to which I'm just kind of like, damn, dude, I wish that most people would see that towards me, because I literally had that experience of looking younger than my actual age, right? I literally went to a barber shop to get a haircut yesterday, and the barber lady saw me, and she remembered me from like 2 months ago when I came with my brother. And so she went and she asked, where's your daddy today? Where's your daddy today? And I was just like, what in the absolute fuck? Excuse me, lady. Like, the fact that she said, where's your daddy? I'm just like, am I 12 right now? Like, you know what? Look, I felt like I've been eternally 12 for a long time, especially on the internet with people asking me, am I a 12-year-old boy or whatever? But I feel like it's been years, and I thought that I've grown out of it at this point, right? I feel like my skin is starting to get to the point where I look older now, or at least I was hoping, but I've still got the effect, dude. The Asian gene is still working. People still think, I mean, I am still young, but people still think I'm younger than my actual age is. Tangent aside, Aqua and Kaburagi had their little sushi date where Kaburagi told Aqua a little bit more about Ai and how perhaps she met the person who she fell in love with and, you know, got impregnated with in the La La Lai theater, which is where Akane is in. So we have a lot more of a closer connection to Akane for Aqua anyways. And then Kaburagi was talking about how he sees potential in both Aqua and B Kamachi, and that's when we see that Kaburagi has offered B Kamachi a stage on the Idol Festival or whatever it was, right? And this is literally going to be their debut if this is what they're going to do. So it's a lot of pressure, as the title of this episode says. It just says pressure, but I assume it's going to be a lot of pressure because, like, their first show is going to be at a place that's very big, and also if they don't do well, and perhaps even if they do well, right, the internet will probably be talking about how, like, they've got connections, and that's how they managed to get here, even though they've never debuted before. We'll just have to see what's going to happen in this episode, but if you guys enjoy the content, remember to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't. And if you didn't like the content, dislike the video, and we'll be on our way. Let's get started. Let's go, Kana! Let's go! Horrible. I'll tell you my opinion then. I know what you're up to. So you talked about it without, and you left her out of it. We put a vote. You weren't there, but we put a vote. Everybody involved got badly burned. It's a symbol of a period that's gone astray. A dark chapter. But yeah, she improved by then, but people just... Uh-oh. You'll change your mind right after this. Doesn't mean that they're going to stop. Understandable. It's 'cause you're a tsundere. A number of days. Ooh. I wrangled someone. It's... No, it's Pieyon. Just do your regular job. Oh! Oh! Wow, dude, this man's talented. You suck. This is why we got this training in the first place. Understandable, yeah. Holy shit, do you fucking see Baby Metal? Like, the amount of stamina they have for the fucking shows? Ridiculous. You know, it must be really stuffy in that mask. And when, like, if he's running in it. From their passion. Him with his high-pitched voice. Do you regret it? How do you know if you don't try? And then she'll be like, I've got past experience. And all the other times she's been in the center, then everything fails. She's like, I'm not taking this bait. Oh, hold on. Maybe he's probably a... You actually... Oh, shit! Ooh, Aqua, better watch out! Look at that, man's a big fan! Aww. A kindred spirit. What? Bell pepper? What? Bell peppers? Just you fucking wait, Kana. You're gonna end up eating bell peppers like 10 years from now. Never say never, I guess. Anyways, Aqua, you better watch out! Oh my god, it was just Aqua in disguise this whole time. He's a rich man! Yeah, it's just Aqua in disguise. It's... She loves him as much as a tsundere would. A low-key perv. Yeah. Ooh. Oh. Oh, 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 oh! Oh god, you got her fucking rolling, dude! Her wheels are just rolling out here. Does she actually hate him or like him? Very confusing. Quick study. Any mistake that stands out. Wow, man's on vacation? Good for him! Of course he's be at a beach where he can just be in his fucking Speedo. Yet another person who's saying, wow, you're a really good actor. Well, it's because Aqua's in a, yeah. Aqua's in a, Kana's in a I hate Aqua mood right now. I'm actually rather feeble, you know? I have to search that up, because I feel like I have an idea what feeble is, but I just need to. Because she's finally getting to do what her mom's been doing. Might get booed big time. I gave her life. Life is nice when you've got a fave. She's enamored by other things, eh? The doctor? Doctor. Well, hopefully you don't remember that Aqua is also the doctor, because we're going to enter in a mountain somewhere? I don't know if they found the body yet. Anyways, hopefully y'all never find out about each other's identity, because we're gonna enter some weird incest shit right there. Aqua's here for you. Aqua does. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It's just Aqua. Oh my god, and then he said that he was your fan this whole time? What? What if it was just I'm crime? God doesn't throw in the towel? Oh my god. You know what? I'm getting nervous too, just because I'm literally about to head into a convention, like, right after this. Mm-hmm. It's a kernel of truth within the lie, right? So it's... Uh-oh. Just a public bathroom? Like, where are you guys? Oh, in the... with everybody else. Oh my god, I feel it in the fucking pit of my stomach. Oh, the performance anxiety. Well, that's just sad. Oh, she's getting the jitters. Fails along. Yeah, she takes a lot of responsibilities. You're not a child anymore. Damn. Wow. She even feels like in a part that... She's just relaying all of the comments that the internet has given her. Yeah. It's the idea of if you're saying it, right? If you're making fun of yourself, then nobody else can make fun of you. And it's just... And now the performance anxiety is getting in. Oh, my fucking stomach. What, the fucking blood is just leaving her hand? That's how nervous she is? Uh-oh. She's gotta be the... She's gotta act tough in front of you guys. But she's... If it was just... Yeah, if she was here alone. If she failed by herself, but now if she's going to... Ooh, a lot of pressure. Well, she's going to have to experience it eventually. You can't... You know, it's like Aqua trying to prevent her from doing this idol work. You know, she already... You know, Aqua's already warned her about the idea of being an idol already. You're just another rookie idol. See, this is a difference between talking with someone who has a monetary goal compared to someone who just has, you know, passion in their heart. Ooh, we get to see the performance next episode. Ooh, that's nice. Hell yeah, dude, hell yeah. That was nice, that was a good episode. We've got more Kana stuff, which is very fun. Okay. Sorry, I was just looking at the... Someone's picking me up for the convention, so... Oh, dude, I felt like that genuine, like... Just like someone just fucking punched me right in my fucking stomach, and now their fist is stuck in me. If that makes sense, right? It feels like I have a fucking fist in my stomach and it's just cramping me up. But yeah, we got to hear more of Kana's and stuff, right? Where we're seeing how, like, she feels very responsible for... I mean, she takes a lot of responsibilities for her actions. And especially when she's failed so many times. And it's just... You know, it's like from the previous episode when they were like, oh, well, how do you know that you're not going to, how do you know if you're going to fail if you don't do it, that sort of thing. And then Kana goes and talks about, like, here's my past experience of all the times I failed, right? It's a good episode. I really liked it. And, well, I guess I'll just, go and write my notes and we will be right back to the center. Okay, so I knew that feeble meant, like, weak, somewhere around there, right, in terms of, like, connecting words, but I did search it up, and it's, like, a little bit more, like, you know, cowardly as well, so it's understandable. That's what Aqua said when he was calling Pieyon, and Pieyon is just like, you know, she'd listen to you either way, right, like, you didn't have to disguise yourself as me, and he says, like, well, you know, I'm feeble, and he's like, I'm weak, I'm a fucking coward, and it's... Paper driver. Children who cry for the moon. I'll explain later. Get in! This is a threat. So, a lot of underground idols in the stat stage. Okay, so, okay. The toll of staying up all night on you lasts for 3 days and your appeal drops by 30%. According to studies, according to research. To which, like, if that's the case, like, I mean, I don't stay up all night, but, you know, I stay up till, like, at least 3 a.m. You know, does that mean my appeal has been dropping, decreasing, like... And, like, that's how my sleep schedule has been all this whole time. Just... Has my appeal just been dropping? I never knew. Alright, so that was episode 10 of Oshi no Ko. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments down below. You know that I always like talking to you guys. For me, I thought that this was a pretty good episode. Honestly, any episodes that give us more focus on Kana is always nice. So I very much am enjoying this idol arc, right? Putting more focus on the B Komachi group instead. And in this point, right, we kind of saw a little bit of Kana in the previous episode, but it was mixed in more with Memcho's stuff because she was the new arriving member. And so here in this episode, we've got mainly Kana stuff, but we got like just a little tinge of Ruby. So I thought that was pretty nice too, even though we've technically have heard this backstory that she told to Kana before, but the fact that she said it to Kana, which, you know what, since I'm already talking about it, I'm just going to make a single point about it, which it's the fact that we've got Ruby who asks like, hey, how are you able to stay so positive, right? Like, you're so excited that that you're having this debut. Like, this should be like the worst thing that could, or the worst feeling that you should be having right now, right? It's being absolutely fucking nervous. So like, why are you so positive? And also the fact that you know, we've got essentially Kana versus Ruby, right? The pessimist versus the optimist. And so Kana has told Ruby and Memcho about the fact that like, hey, if we go to this place and we had no record before and suddenly we're just in the fucking idol festival and like we're on stage just because and even though nobody knows about us, and like if we perform poorly, then people will know that we've got connections. And again, even if they might perform good, some people will still be like, oh, they probably got connection, that's why they were able to get on stage. Like, well, we don't know who these people are. So you know, Kana just when she first heard that news, right, the first thing she thinks of is all the bad things that's going to happen. Meanwhile, we've got Ruby who's just like, this is great! You know, I finally get to debut. I finally get to do the thing that I've been longing for this whole time. But she's just, you know, Ruby's just been held back for a while, whether it's being held back by Aqua, and then Aqua coming in to recruit Kana, who is what Aqua wants is, right? Kana is just here to keep Ruby on a leash, essentially. And so, like, despite her having all of these setbacks and having to wait it out, right, until she finally gets her moment, she's not really defeated by this whole idea. Even in, like, the first episode, or, well, the second or third episode, when she was trying to apply for the whole idol thing, and then Aqua was stopping her, right, she was still very gung-ho about the idea, even if she has had, like, a little bit of defeat. And so that just goes back to what Kana said, right? Like, why are you so positive about this? And then Ruby goes and explains, right, that this is something that she's been wanting for a very long time. And then she goes into her previous past and not like her current past, right? She went to she just overlaps into her fucking previous life, where she was just this girl in the hospital and she had no future, no hope, right? She had no joy because all she really knows is the hospital. She's just literally just a fucking dying girl until Ai came along. And it was interesting that, like, it's not just Ai, it was also Dr. Goro. I think that's his name, right? His name is Dr. Goro before, you know, he became Aqua. Yeah, Dr. Goro. So it was interesting that, you know, not only it was Ai who gave her life, essentially, right? She gave, after she became an idol otaku, every day was fun. And, like, her heart was filled with adoration, which, by the way, when I first saw this, right? And she was just like, oh man, suddenly I just became an idol otaku and my days are just so much better. And I'm just thinking about, like, oh, you know, that's kind of like what people think with religion, right? Right? It's the same idea where, like, you want to have some sort of a person to look up to, a person to kind of basically what I'm trying to say is, like, you know, some people just want to have some sort of direct order, or, like, you know, just to know that somebody is, like, in a higher being than them, so then they can feel like they could worship that person, kind of that feeling. So when we got to this part where she's just like, I felt miserable until until I found idolhood. It just really made me think of just the whole thing of, like, oh, I was very sad in my life. I had no direction until I found God. You know, that's that sort of feeling. Anyways, after her gushing about Ai, she says that she met a certain someone, which is Dr. Goro, and she says he was my first love, and I was like, damn, oh shit. And so yeah, he had told her that if she ever became an idol, then he would be her fan, and so it's nice that like I gave her that joy in her life, and now here's the man who's like her first love. I would assume just because he's interacted with her the most. But with that whole shenanigan, because of Dr. Goro, because of her first love, she has dreamt of becoming an idol because, well, I mean, her first love would say that it would become her fan, and like that's what she wants. And I thought that was very interesting. But also kind of just like, ooh, again, I hope that you guys never find out about each other's past or anything. I'm just saying. we're gonna go into some other sort of territory. But yeah, it is interesting to hear that. I mean, I kind of had an idea that, I mean, from the first episode and seeing their interactions with each other, we can see that the both of them have had each other on the brain, even after past Ruby died. I forgot what her name back then was, but you know, even after past Ruby died and it got reborn into Ruby, she's still thinking about her time in the hospital, other than the fact that it's probably the only thing that she remembers. But then we've got Aqua, when Aqua, even after past Ruby had died, right, and he had met Ai, right, he's still we saw that Dr. Goro at the time was still thinking about this patient, and like it had affected him a whole lot, and I would assume she's also like the person that got him into this whole idolship thing. And so we know that the both of them have played a significant part in each other's lives, and now they are siblings. Good for them. Alright, I feel like I went on yet another tangent, but my whole point was that Ruby told Kana about her previous past and not about her current past, which is understandable because I would assume she can't really talk much about her previous past. I mean, she still could. Miyako was like was still in her life even when she was like young Ruby. Right, she still could technically talk about that, but she decides that she's going to talk about her actual past because that's what impacted her the most, other than, you know, the whole death thing. But yeah, now Kana knows that Ruby about Ruby's actual past, right? And she said, "Oh, I never knew that this girl was such a shut-in." To which we still don't know how she was when she was like young Ruby, right? When Miyako was raising her all the way until like them coming to like first year of high school and everything, right? So we still don't really know whether like actual young Ruby was like a shut-in after her mother's death. Who knows? But yeah, it was interesting that Kana said that, and now Ruby said that. Ruby said that, and now Kana knows about it. And it makes me wonder if like eventually it would help Kana kind of piece this whole thing together, because Kana will eventually have to find out that these two are the sons and daughter of Ai eventually, kind of like with Akane. Like Akane will eventually find out about that too. She already knows that Ai had kids, or a kid, whichever one, right? She already knows about that. So like eventually one of them is going to find out about their past, and it's just But as we've learned from Ai, despite her, despite her, I was gonna say naivety, but like that's her act, right? That's the little act that she puts on, like her nonchalantness. her being nonchalant and that mask that she puts on, she is very into the secret, right? She's very guarded about her secret, and she has lied to the world to the point where people really only know her for the mask that she wears and not the actual person. So for the most part, Ai has kept a good has done good in hiding her tracks for the most part, right? And like everybody else only knows about her in for her mask. Unless you're Akane, because Akane is just a fucking sleuth at this point. You know, if her acting career doesn't pan out, maybe she could just go work as an investigator. Look, I'm gonna say is that if Kana puts her sleuthing skills on the internet and like make YouTube videos, she could run a pretty successful channel, I'm just saying. Minus the one scene towards the end, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about for Ruby, because everything else is a whole lot more focused on our girl Kana and her lack of self-confidence, her feeling of I'm responsible for everything, and her feeling like she has to be the adult. Essentially, right? Because she's always talking about like, oh, I've got these two cheaplings in this entertainment industry and I've got to take care of them. You know, I've got to support them because I'm the one who I'm the one who has been in this industry since I was still nursing on my baby bottle. And it's just like, all right, Kana, cool, right? And it kind of goes back to with Kana complaining about Aqua and how her saying, oh, Aqua never shows me any respect despite me being his senior, and the same goes for Ruby. And then we've got Memjo, who's just kind of like, I mean, that's kind of what you do to me. Like, I'm older than you, so like, where's my fucking respect? So it's very funny, but that's just how Kana is, right? She feels like she has to take responsibility, and we've seen that in episode 2 to 4. I think that was the time with the whole play thing, the manga adaptation. So yeah, the whole premise of this is Ruby and Memcho trying to get Kana to become the center because they know that she can sing, and as Ruby says, hey, I know that you've put a lot of work into this. Right? Like the first Bell Pepper song, yeah, you were a little off key, but then in the second song you were improving, by the third song you were getting way better, right? I know that you were working hard for this whole thing, even though it ultimately failed. And and of course with Kana doing the whole like, you think if you just compliment me or do this video that you're trying to do right now that I'm just going to give in because I can't take being pressured very well. Well, think again. And then the next thing you know, she's at the center. Never change, Kana, never change. Except for the part that you will change eventually, but never change. But as we see Kana putting up a tough face, even though she doesn't want to, with her saying like, oh, well, since I'm in the center, you guys better support me. And in her head, she's just like, oh, why do I keep saying things that I don't want to say? Right, she's putting on that tough face. What a fucking tsundere. But yeah, she doesn't feel good as a center, and then she kind of pours all that feeling towards the end. But before I get to that, we've got the introduction of Pieyon again, except it's not actually Pieyon. I guess I should have figured out that it's not Pieyon because he's wearing like an entire tracksuit while Pieyon just loves being in a Speedo. Showing off his muscles and everything, right? So yeah, we've got Pieyon in the mix, and here's Pieyon talking to Kana, and he ends up telling her that he's a fan, right? Because Kana's just like, what do you even know about me, right? Because she's so she's so much at this point where she knows that she doesn't have any fans at all, so she's just like, what do you even know about me? Probably nothing. And here our boy Pieyon is just out here telling her about like how she is behind the stage or behind the scene. Okay. and how like she doesn't actually like bell peppers, right? She's just like, whoa, I never made it public that I didn't like bell peppers. And then they just started talking about bell peppers. And then Kana is just over here like, man, Pieyon's actually a pretty nice guy. Maybe I could just fall for this man instead of Aqua. And then we just find out it's just Aqua. It's just like, damn it, Kana, you're just falling further and further into this Aqua hole. No. But as the both of them are talking, and even after Kana finds out that it's Aqua under the mask, and she's trying to figure out like, was that all a lie? The whole thing that he's talking about, right, with him being a fan, and like, was he just trying to get me to motivate me for, so then his sister could do good and all that, right? Because ultimately he cares about his sister. That's probably what Kana would feel. When it comes to Aqua, we know that he's lying, and he has to admit that he wears a mask in order to lie. But he can't help but to put kernels of truth within the lie, right? And even though he's lying to her as Pieyon, what he's saying to her in the fact that, hey, I'm a fan, I know you've done this, and this, that's all truth. But it's hard to know when it's being wrapped by lies, right? That kernel of truth. But at the same time, that's how you just make it a convincing lie. Not to tell people how to lie or anything, but like if you want to be convincing in your lie, you gotta put some sort of fucking truth in there, because it's a lot easier to tell truth. It's a lot easier to remember truths in your head, because if you lie and make up some sort of fucking story, if somebody relay that story back to you, it's gonna be a little difficult to remember it. So you always gotta put some sort of truth within the lie. Anyways, don't listen to my advice on lying. The gang is at, what is it? The Japan Idol Festival. There you go. And Kana is, she's truly feeling it. The fucking nervousness in her fucking stomach. You can see her legs starts like, she's getting the fucking jitters and everything. Albeit, that's a very slow feet tapping, but you know, you do you. As she says, if I fail, everyone fails along with me, and it's that big idea of I'm responsible for everything. We go through this flashback of her singing, and like there was nobody there on the stage, like the staff had to dress themselves in street clothes in order to make it look like there were people. And then, you know, the disappointed eyes of the adults saying like, oh, that's all she's got, huh? Oh, let's abandon this child. Fuck her. She's not making us money. And then that feeling of just her sitting there by herself, just waiting for someone to come and buy her CD and, you know, talk to her inside. Like, that's god awful. But also, I'll be honest with you, I don't buy children's music. I don't know, like, there's like the whole fucking kid pops thing, which still makes no sense to me. Like, I don't understand, like, it's just pop songs, but sung by kids, and I'm like, I don't want that. Even as a kid, I didn't want that. So, well, I mean, I kind of already made this point in the last episode, where it's like, I feel like I don't really follow children, even when I was a kid, right? Like, I don't really follow kids who were around my age, and they were like getting into stardom, or they have like some sort of fame. I feel like I don't really follow these sort of people until they grow later on and become adults. That's just me. That's just me though, right? I don't really get into like this whole like actresses and like following them, or like even if they're like singers or comedians or whatever and they're like kids. I'm just like, whatever, right? I'll see like a budding talent of a kid and like I'll watch them for a bit and then I'll be like, okay, I think that's good, you know, they'll fucking blossom into something more eventually, or they'll fucking crash down, as the industry always fucking does to child actors. Oh, these silly kids always getting into drugs as they grow up and they realize that nobody fucking loves them anymore because they're not kids. We've also got this scene where her mom is telling her that her grandpa's back is messed up and that's why her mom has to go home, but then she tells Kana like, you'll be fine living here, right? And then Kana, you know, gritting through her teeth, you know, with a smile and everything, yeah, no, I'll be fine. And then she ends up saying like, oh man, like I feel abandoned. And it's just like, damn, dude, like she got up to this point where she feels like even her family abandoned her, and that's why, you know, she's been living alone, as we've learned. And it's just like, wow, that's really sad. Like she is, since like middle school, I would assume this is like a middle school uniform or something, that she's been living alone by this whole time, and like she has gotten no support. And you can kind of see why, despite her pessimistic attitude, she was trying to be more or less optimistic when she first met Aqua again for her first time. It's just her way of defending herself from not just fucking breaking down. and it just absolutely fucking suck. God, and this is the part where she starts like reiterating what everybody on the internet is talking about. And it's just anonymous. She was an angel when she was little. And it's just like, okay, fucking creep. Does Kana Arima have any value now that she's no longer a child actor? And it's just like, it's just like, okay, she probably has more value than you, like, anonymous man. Like, what do you... And it's like, people like the little kid Arima, so she probably has no fans now she has grown up. She's past her prime. Like, what the fuck, bro? Like, failed upbringing? Like, what? The internet is just utter savagery. It fucking just god awful. Anyways, with that comments, and then it goes back to this, right? I have no longer have any values now that I'm grown up. You know, after I've got no fans. I've got no fans now that I've grown up. And she wondered, when did it start? When did I begin making self-deprecating remarks like the posts I see online? And I feel like perhaps it's a little bit of a self-defense mechanism and a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. The first one with the defensive mechanism is that I've already mentioned, where if you make fun of yourself, then it feels like you've taken these weapons that these people have tossed at you and you're using it for yourself, right? It's like, you can't hurt me if I'm hurting myself. that sort of feeling. A lot of people do it, right? Where they joke about themselves, they make self-deprecating jokes about themselves, right? That's all like a defensive mechanism. They're defending themselves, because if they say these hurtful words first, if somebody else goes and say these hurtful words, they'll be just like, well, I already knew that. I've already told myself it, so haha, it doesn't fucking hurt me. So the fact that Kana has heard these comments so much that she ended up taking these because she's just trying to defend herself. She's trying to, even though it's hurting her, she's still putting it up just to make sure that she doesn't get hurt even more. You know, again, it's the whole feeling of, I'm gonna hurt myself so then you can't hurt me. Logic, right? You can't fire me, I quit. that sort of feeling. And then for the self-fulfilling prophecy, it's the idea that people have told her this over and over and over, except people didn't really say it to her face, but she's been reading it. So essentially it's like people telling her something over and over and over and over, and eventually she just kind of adapted that mindset and just be like, oh yeah, I am that person, right? I am a failure. It's an example would be like a kid who's a bit of a delinquent or something, right? Maybe he's got some sort of issues that people don't know about, and then they just assume that he's a bad kid. So then they will always tell this kid that he's a bad guy. And throughout his whole entire life, he's been told that. And eventually, you know, the self-fulfilling prophecy kicks in, and he's just like, you know what? You're right. I am a bad guy. And then he starts doing bad things. And then everybody will be like a fucking Pika surprise face, like, oh my god, the bad kid's doing bad things. Or it'll be like, see, what did I tell you? That kid's a bad guy, and now he's doing bad things. And it's definitely not because we kept telling him that he's a bad guy. So here in Kana's case, it's people repetitively in repetition are just writing comments on the internet talking about like, she has no fans, she's out of her prime, she's got no values anymore. And so Kana has adopted that, and she's just like, yeah, you're right, I have no fans, I have no value, I'm a failure, and I just suck. I just suck at everything. So it's just really sad. Okay, that's all I have to say about this part. And finally, towards the end, with Ruby coming to Kana and just, you know, telling her like, hey, I'm very nervous right now. And then she tells Ruby, or she tells Kana, I think you're nervous too, right? I can feel it. Your hand, it's freezing cold. I guess she's so nervous. The blood from her hands are just leaving her. So she's really cold. But hey, you know what? I will tell you, this is the one thing that old women have always told me when I used to work at the retirement home. A cold hand means that you've got a warm heart. That's every single fucking old lady, whoever tells me that, whenever they touch my hand and they're like, wow, your hands are very cold. I'm like, I know, it's naturally cold. Cold hands means you've got warm hearts. Son of a bitch. And since the old ladies have relayed that message on me, that's what I will tell Kana. You've got cold hands, it means you've got a warm heart. But we've got Kana, who yells out her anxiety that's been building up this whole time, right? We've been seeing her talking about how she has to lead these two. And she says, if it was just me up on that stage, that would be fine. I'll take all the failure myself. But the fact that you guys are here, I have to support you guys, I have to be responsible for you guys, that's bad. I have to, I have to take responsibility for you guys too. I can't fuck this up. But at the same time, if I'm at the center, I'm going to fuck this up because of all the past experiences that I've had before. So it's just a big, giant turmoil for Kana, and it goes back to that feeling of she has to be the superior, she has to be the senpai because she has more experience in the entertainment industry than these two fucking cheaplings. But I love that Ruby tells Kana that she's not an expert, especially when it comes to these idol stuff. She's just like Ruby, a fucking rookie idol, right? That's how it is. You're working hard, and I can see that rookie idol within you. And I love what Ruby tells Kana, right? Like, hey, we're just going to have fun. You know, it doesn't matter if we fail. If we're going to fucking fail, let's get on stage, fail, and have fun. And I love that. I said it in the reaction. This is the difference between someone who's here for monetary gains versus someone who's just very passionate in their job. And Kana has always been working with adults who are here for monetary gains, right? They're only here to make money. And if you're not going to make money, they don't fucking need you anymore. And that's what Kana has been living this whole time. As she said, she's been in this industry ever since she was still a fucking baby. So that's the only sort of world that she's known, and it's horrible for kid actors, especially like that, right? Where they just get tossed aside both by their fans and the staff members, the producers, you know, everybody. And so for her to get to experience something different, which is Ruby, who is out here for the passion, for what she wants to do this no matter what. Even if she fails, she's going to step up and she's going to stand up and she's going to try this again, right? She's not for the most part afraid of failure, and as we've seen with her, right, even if she gets a little bit sad about the failure, she'll eventually bounce back up, as with Ruby said, right? Ruby will be fine with her mom's death. She'll bounce back up eventually. Right? Not even Ai's death could have kept her down. She kept moving forward, and I love that about Ruby. And well, you know, with all the things that I've already reiterated, you know, with her constantly being put back, having all these setbacks against her, but she's still pushing on regardless. She's on that fucking new Soletta grind set, you know. You know, move forward even if you don't gain anything. Hell yeah, Ruby. Hell yeah. But that's pretty much all I have for this. I'm excited to see the next episode. Well, actually, I'm not that excited. I feel like my gut is about to my gut's going to fucking explode. I already felt it in my gut this episode, and like they haven't even gone up stage yet, but like the fact that they're gonna go up stage, I'm gonna die. I'm just gonna melt into the fucking floor. But yeah, it'll be exciting to see their performance. I assume with how well Oshi no Ko has been performing, and of course this is from the same creator of Love is War, which already gives it that much buzz already, I would assume that we're going to get a season 2 of Oshi no Ko, so, you know, there's going to be that announcement and whatever. So, there's that. I assume that, and I assume that the play stuff, you know, perhaps we're going to have some initial troubles, but perhaps eventually it's going to be a good performance. Who knows? We'll just have to see, you know, it could just be a giant failure and then we'll just shrug it off from that. But we'll just have to see. And yeah, if I have anything else to say, I will write it in the description down below. Thank you guys for sticking around, and I will see you guys in the next episode.